Okay, is that better? Sorry about messing up for the third time. I thought I had hit the unmute button. Is that better now? Okay, is that better now? Anyone? Okay, great. All right, sorry about that. I have a mute button on my microphone, apparently, that I kept hitting. All right, let's go ahead and share my screen. And first thing I want to do is to let you all know that there are several learning opportunities for you each week on this channel. Of course, we have Watch Me Viz on Mondays, and on Wednesdays, Eva hosts Viz Review. So that's a great chance for you to see or get her feedback on your visualizations or other visualizations that she sees with the Makeover Monday hashtag. And then you can learn about kind of what works, what doesn't work, etc. Okay, 1 second. Okay. So yeah, and then let's see, and then I'll be posting a tip every week. I've got a nice one coming up this week to explain the difference between LODs and table calcs using a percent of total calculation, and hopefully you'll find that one useful. And I also started a new podcast. It's called the Dual Axis Podcast. Hopefully you get it. It's 2 people every time. So hence the dual, and then dual axis because the charts, and we're nerdy like that. So my first interview was last week with Taha Ibrahimi, and she is the person that runs Tableau Public. So I'd encourage you to listen. And we talked about how she has built Tableau Public into a great community. And I've got speakers lined up for the next 5 or 6 weeks and hopefully beyond that. So another great way for you to learn. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go to the Makeover Monday website. Let's go to the data page. And let me see here. Okay, and if I go to the first version here, so if we go to that page, so we're looking at the Berkshire Hathaway holdings, and there's this really neat infographic, or not infographic, it's an animated visualization. And if I go ahead and play it, oh, can you hear the music for that? I don't know if you can hear the music from the video. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Okay, so this one is like a bar chart race, and pretty neat. It's definitely engaging, but yeah, so things I like about it. So let me just make it full screen so we can see it a bit better. So I kind of think the idea of the idea of the animation is really cool. The problem this runs into is you've got lots of these different symbols on here, which makes it a bit confusing. They move all over the place. Pie chart probably just isn't the best way to look at it anyway. No screen now. All right, this is going fantastically well today. Well, there we go. It helps if this is turning into a disaster today. So thank you for bearing with me. You should be able to see now. I've got all these buttons on this software, and I keep forgetting to push the right buttons. Anyway, if you hadn't at least seen the original visualization, it has this animation to it. Let me turn the volume down a bit. It has this nice animation to it, and it looks very appealing. Oh, yeah, Maggie says hi back, Jen. So it's engaging, that's for sure. But one of the problems that I see with it is that you've got kind of these sections of this donut moving all over the place. A bar chart would be much simpler, and then you've got these kind of stacked bars, which it's kind of hard to follow any particular color. Like, for example, we see there's this kind of yellow section going through. It starts maybe in 2004. And it gets bigger, and then it shrinks back down. But there's no yellow up in this holdings at the top. Now, maybe they sold it, but I can still see a yellow section here. So I just find the whole thing a bit confusing. All right. So the data set itself, if I go to data.world, it's pretty simple. We have the date. So this is basically every year. I think it maybe changes a bit toward the end. And then across the top are just all of the different stocks that that Berkshire Hathaway holds. So I know I'm going to need to pivot this data so that it's tall instead of wide. So I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay, so in Tableau, let's go ahead and connect to data. And it's Berkshire Hathaway Holdings. And you'll see it going across. Hi, Maggie. I'm going to go ahead and highlight each of these columns. So I'm going to scroll all the way across. Maggie, down, down. Okay, I'm going to scroll. Oh, God. Come on, off, off. Come on. I'm going to scroll all the way across. Sorry, she's very excited, I guess. And I'm going to highlight all of these columns, click on one of the triangles, and pivot. So so now I can just rename this first field as the maybe the company. Yeah, let's call this the company. And then this is the, I guess this is the value of it. So let's see what the original looks like. Okay, so it's stock portfolio, but there's no, okay. So quarterly reports, Berkshire Hathaway annual quarterly reports. Okay, I'm just gonna call this the value. That's it. That's the value of that part of the portfolio. So ABC, that's Google. So 1.7 billion in is it shares? I wouldn't put shares or share value maybe. Yeah. The value of the shares. Okay, so let's say value of shares. Thank you, Drew. Better? Anyway, so we've got it pivoted now. Let's go to our sheet, and I'm going to just go ahead and drag date to the columns, and we see that we've got all of these years. Actually, I'm going to change this to be the exact date, and then make it discrete. Okay, because I'm going to just look and see what all these dates look like. So they're all, it looks like they're all years until you get to 2022, because that's the only half year. I think I'll probably just leave it anyway. So let's change this back to year and put it in the rows. And if we just look at simply the value of shares, we get something like that, right? So very simple. See, it looks like 2022, he's had a decrease. So 307 billion the company is worth now. That's crazy. On your pivot, would you filter out the blanks? That's a good question, Jen. So let me look at the data here. Let me show everybody what, if I go back to the data, we can see we've got all these blanks because we pivoted. I don't know if it really matters, Jen. You could. The only thing there is, so if it's null, but we have the date, it might look like we still have holdings in that they're just zero. So yeah, that's probably a good idea. Let's go ahead and filter out the nulls. So I'm going to edit the data source filters. And I'm going to add a value of shares filter. Choose special, and I only want to keep the non-null values. So hit OK. Doesn't change the values, but now if I go back into my data, you'll see that all of them are gone. So yeah, that's a good catch there, Jen. All right, so we have this. Yeah, nothing particularly interesting. We could break it up by company, and this is kind of where we see the same sort of kind of the same view that's in the original. If I go back here, I think it's easier to look at here on data.world. There we go. Okay, so I took a screenshot here. I don't know what the gray bar means, but so if I change this into a bar and we stack them, we can see something very similar to this version here. So it says June. I'm not quite sure where these values are coming from because it's not the end. You see this keeps going up, but I believe in the data. Let me go back to here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why the value would go down when his goes up. So he's got three kind of taller bars. Yeah, so I think this data for 2022 is not in his visualization. Let me go back here. Yeah, so it doesn't look like, it does say June of 2022, but why are the values different? Okay, let me look at the data again. Sorry, I'm just going to take a quick look at the data. So if I go down to, okay, so what do we have for a value here? We got 307, 312. Okay. So the value here is 307, 312. Okay, so that's correct. But what about the year before? So this is, right. Let's see. Oh, this. And it should be, so 307, 312. Okay. And this one is 350, 719. Okay, so this one is 350, 719. And then this one is 279, 723. Okay. Okay, so I think the original visualization actually isn't even including June of 2023, even though the visual itself looks like it does include June of, oh, sorry, not June of 2023, June of 2022. So I think that is a bit misleading. Okay, so yeah, this is where it gets a bit tough. We could look at maybe the most recent year. So I'm just going to drag the year and let's look at 2022. And if we drag value of shares to the rows, we see it's 307 billion. All right. And let's put company on the rows and sort. And we see Apple is 122 billion in stock. Bank of America is 331 billion. Others, Coca-Cola, etc. Actually, interesting. No more Alphabet. Wonder when that dropped off. Alphabet. Where's ABC? All right, let's see. Oh, well, there wasn't that much from the beginning. Okay. So if we choose entire view here, so that's something, right? We have, this is just our current value. Current value by holding. And then I'm going to maybe get rid of the company on here. I think I like this better as a bar chart. If I make this continuous, it's going to, yeah, that doesn't look as good. Yeah, so let's leave it as discrete. Okay, make it fit entire view, and then I'm going to hide the header. All right, so we've got two things so far, not too bad. What I could do is, this is, let's see, holdings by year. Not holdings, this would be share value by year, something like that. Okay, what I could do is, maybe what I do is, I could look at, maybe I click on a year and then it updates these holdings so that we always get the most we always get the value for that particular year. I'll show you. So I'm going to go ahead and first start by creating a custom date because I want just the years in my set. And I'm going to date part. Okay, so now this is going to just give me the numbers. So if you see here, I still just get the numbers going across the top. And I want to create a set based off of that field. So I'll just call it year set, and I'll pick 2022 to start. And if I put that on color, we can see we now have that. Okay, so that's good. But I'm going to swap this out here. Right, so now what I want to do is I want to create an action. So let's create a worksheet action. And we're going to change set values. So I'm going to call this update year set. On select, I'm going to make it a single select. Update my year set. I want to assign values, and clearing the selection will, let's say, remove all values from the set. Okay, so I click that, click it again. Now everything's out of the set. So what I can do here is, let me just click one, and then I could change this so that my set is here instead. Okay, so now this should be updating based on the set that I pick. Okay, sorry, the year that I pick. So if I pick 2022 and I go over here, it changes the views. Okay, so that's kind of neat. So let me hide the field labels. If I throw this into a dashboard, I'm going to pretty it up later, but if I just throw this into a dashboard for now, you know, I could maybe do something like that, but I need to then change my action to a dashboard action. So I would do that by going up to worksheet actions. Let's edit this action. And instead of the source sheet being the sheet, I'm going to make it the dashboard. And it's going to be my current, yeah, so it's going to be that. Everything else stays the same. We click and there we go. All right, so that's all updating nice and neat. When I click off, this disappears though. So I need to do something to make sure this always goes back to the current year. So I think when we click off, maybe it should go back to 2022. Let's see if we can do that. I don't think I've ever done that before. Okay, so when I click off of that, okay. Okay, so over here, I've got my year set. Okay, so I'm going to say, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Actually, can I do it in the set itself? Let's see. I don't know if I can do this in the set action. So dashboard actions. Let's edit this action. And when it's done, if I choose remove all values, it's going to get rid of everything. Let's see. We want to. Okay, so I'm just going to try something here. So I'm going to write a new calculated field. I'm going to call this set or most recent year. I'll just call it set or 2022. All right, so I'm going to say if year set, then year. So that's not going to work either. So I want it to reset to 2022. So this is where a parameter action actually would be much better. I'm not sure this will work that way. All right, so we're going to take a different direction here. I'm going to delete my set. Yes, let's delete that. Okay, that's fine. So now what I want to do is I'm going to create a parameter, and I'm going to call it my year parameter. And I'll explain this to you in a second. So it's going to be an integer. Let's say the display format is that. Doesn't really matter. So let's say this is 2022. And allowable values is all. Okay, great. So if I go over here, let me show the parameter here. And I'm going to add a parameter action instead. So worksheet actions. I'm going to remove that one. Let's add a change parameter action. So I'm going to say update year parameter. Let me get this configured first, and then I'll explain it to you. So we're going to update the year parameter with the field year. Okay, so the reason I would choose to use a parameter action here is because of this option here on the lower right. So in this action, when I clear it, I can now set the value to something. So I'm going to choose set value, and I'm going to reset it to 2022 and hit OK. Hit OK. And if you just keep an eye on the parameter over here on the upper right, if I click on one of them, it resets the parameter to 2022. Click off, and it goes back. Or sorry, if I click on one, it goes to 2019. Click off, and it goes to 2022. Okay, so I think that's good. So now I'm going to set this up so it colors the year like it did with the set. Okay, so let's call this year selected year. So I'm going to say year is equal to year parameter. Okay, and if I drag that onto color, you'll see that bar gets highlighted. And now I can put this onto the filter, and now it should work. So if I could, oh no, okay. So I need to now change my my worksheet action to a dashboard action. So dashboards and share value by year. Year. Okay, so all that's the same. So now if I click on one, it moves the color and it changes the bars at the bottom. I click off and it switches back to 2022. Okay, good. So I like that. Let's get rid of that. And I'm going to update my colors. Let's make the true blue and the false gray. Something like that. Oh, are there any official colors for Berkshire Hathaway? So Berkshire Hathaway. And guidelines. Okay. No idea if any of these are going to be real. The brand guidelines of Berkshire Hathaway. Let's see. Vertical stack logo, typography, additional color options. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll through here for a bit until we see some colors. So brand background, voice, stop. Okay, so here's the main color is, oh, are there any? Okay, I'm going to try to figure out how to, oh, here we go. So this is the code. So let's make that our primary color. Analysis, legends, color. So we're going to make this our primary color. And then let's make maybe this cream color the secondary color. Just trying to go with the theme a bit. Okay. And then let's maybe make this the year color. There we go. Okay, so we got something like that. Let's maybe turn our text labels on. That looks not particularly great. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to format the pane to put it in number custom, 1 decimal, and let's make it billions. There we go. I think that's probably okay. And I'm going to set the label to match the mark color. And then maybe I'll make them like bold or something. Yeah, something like that for now. I can hide the header. And I'll finish all the formatting later. Okay, any questions so far? I see it seems like everybody's just kind of sitting there at the moment. But any questions anybody have so far? I know I'm looking to the left now, but that's because I'm looking at my second screen. Anybody? Okay, feel free to pop them in the chat if you do. This is kind of a tough data set because there's not really that much to look at. Can I put the year in the title? Sure. So what I could do here, if I want the year in the title, oh, let's see. So yeah, so I'm going to, oh yeah, I can. So because the year is a parameter, I could say value, no, I don't think you want it in this sheet. I think you want it in this one. So let's call this, so I can insert the parameter. Hold it. So 2022 holdings. Oops, but you see it's formatted with a comma. So I need to edit my parameter and change the display format to a number custom with 0 decimals and no comma. There we go. So now it should say 2022 holdings. So I think, oh, the share value by year. Where do you mean? So put it in the title. I mean, we can just insert the parameter here. Share value by year 20. See, why did it do that? Look at that. It has the comma in there now. Didn't I just change that? Yeah, so stupid. This shouldn't have a comma in it. Let's see, default properties, number format. Yeah, I'm just gonna put 1 decimal. Okay, so there it goes. So let's edit again. Oh, and make it 0. There we go. Okay, I did it the way you were thinking. Okay, that's good. So let's get rid of that here. We could probably just call this maybe yearly value. All right, what else can we do? So again, if I click, it all updates. It's nice and neat. All works perfectly. Okay, great. So we could maybe look at, all right, so let me duplicate this sheet. Do I want to do, oh, my mouse just died. Come on, mouse, come back alive. Come on, mouse. There it goes. Okay, so let's just create, I'm going to create a new sheet. Again, I'm going to do year and value of shares. But what I want to do now is I want to change this a bit. Oh, my mouse died again. I got to get batteries. I'll give you some hold music while I fix this. I like this new hold music option. Okay, I'm back. So my thinking now is, let's go ahead and put the year color on here again. But what I'm going to do now is I want to look at the change in the value compared to the one that I select. So all of the other bars should be compared to 2010. So to do that, I'm going to need to write a level of detail expression. So I'm going to create a new calculated field, and I'm going to call this one value at selected year. So I want to start by saying if year color, that's just basically a true or false, then I want to get the value of shares, and then I want to wrap that in a level of detail expression. So I'm going to just put the mustachio and then the sum, and then a bracket and a mustachio. Okay, so this is kind of giving me, this is saying these work inside out. So the first thing I'm looking at is if it's that particular year, then give me the value of the shares. And then I want to bring that back everywhere. So I'm just making it a level of detail expression that doesn't fix on anything. So notice how there's no fixed in here. If I put fixed in there, I could just do fixed in a colon, meaning there's no dimensions that it's fixed on. So this is kind of like the grand total based on that year. So let me show you what happens. So if I drag that into the rows, you'll see I get the same value. So you see it's the same value going all the way across. That's what that level of detail expression did. So now I want to compare each year to that year. So let's create a new calculated field. So I'm going to call this one variance to selected year. So it's going to be the sum of the value shares minus the value at selected. Click on OK. And I'm going to put that here instead. And let's get rid of that. Okay, so now we've got something like that. So we see a positive or negative change. So if I click on another one, anyway, so let me just show my parameter. So if I make this, 1998, see everything adjusts to 1998, 2015, everything adjusts to 2015. So that's okay. We see the value, but I think it'd be more intuitive if it was a percent change. So I'm going to edit this calculation, and I'm going to put all of this in parentheses, and then divide by my, where is it here? It's going to make it a percent change instead. So variance to selected year. My default number format is going to be percentage. Oh, okay. So now we see, okay, but on the left axis here, let me just zoom in a bit. We see that we have minus signs, we have negative signs for things below 0, but I want pluses next to the positive side. So I'm going to edit my I'm going to edit my default number format. And right now I'm set at percentage is 0. If I go to custom, I can go in here and I can say plus 0%. So that's going to format the positive side. And then semicolon minus 0%. Oops. And then if I want to format the 0, I could put another semicolon, and maybe I'll just put a dash for the 0. So notice we have 0% here on the axis. If I change that, it's just going to now be a dash. Okay, but maybe that should be a 0. So let me change that back. And I'll just get rid of that. Oh, but it says plus 0%. Yeah, so we don't want that. So let's number format, and let's do 0%. There we go, because it's neither positive nor negative. Okay, so that's kind of neat. What it tells us, I don't know. Maybe I could stick that in the dashboard as well. Maybe I'm just going to stick it here next to it for now. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. So now if I click on a bar, you'll see everything adjusts according to that bar. I don't know. I'm not sure which one I like. But it's interesting to see how things have changed over time. So here, what I would probably want to do though is set up so I can click either of these charts. So I'm going to update my dashboard action, my parameter action, and I'm going to make it work with sheet 3 as well. So now if I click here, you'll see it adjusts everywhere and back and forth. Okay, so that's pretty good. All right. On this chart, though, I would probably do some kind of positive and negative values, but they don't have, they don't really have anything to represent a negative value. Let me see if there's any other colors. Okay. No. All right, so let me go back up here. The font they're using is Proxima Nova. Legally, we cannot share the fonts Proxima Nova and Georgia Pro. In order to use them in your materials, you need to purchase them. Okay, well, as an alternative to Proxima Nova, we recommend Montserrat, which is available to, okay. So I'm going to format my workbook fonts and change my default font to Montserrat. And I have this on my computer because I downloaded it from Google before. And now all my sheets will be in that nice font. And there we go. Okay, so that's that. I'm not sure which one of these I'll keep, so I'll just leave it there for now. So Dale, a radial bar chart. What do you, oh, I see. So you think it'd be go around the outside and just kind of see it go. I think you just mean, will it go in or out, kind of like spokes. Those are really difficult to create. So I would have to actually go back and follow a tutorial in order to figure that out. So let me see, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second because I think, okay. So I'm just gonna look at my tutorials here. Oh no, this is a radar chart. I don't think you mean it. Do you mean something like a starburst chart, something like that, Dale? I think, is that what you mean? Or do you mean a radar chart, radial bar chart? Oh, unless you mean just a bar chart that goes in a circle. Yeah, definitely don't do one of those. Anyway, this might be neat to try to do, but it's not very easy because you have to union the data, do all these other things. So it's kind of it's very, very difficult to do. So I think for now we'll just leave that because we've already been 38 minutes now. Okay, what else can we do? So let's look at year again. Let's look at value of shares and company, and we could always rank them. So I'm going to change this to a rank, and we're going to compute using company. So let's edit the axis and swap these around. So that one is at the top. Right. Okay. So it looks like in this first year, there were only 5 holdings. If I turn on the highlighter, let's see. So we could see Google. He sold all of his Google shares. There's Apple. So he bought Apple recently, 2016. AT&T, Bank of America, I think Coca-Cola he's had for the whole time. Yeah. What's this one here? This is others. Well, others isn't particularly helpful because could be a lot of them. Anyway, you can kind of maybe look at it like that. What do you think? Useful? Not useful? Probably not. Okay. So all right, so I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and I'm going to probably, I wonder if I should, let me just duplicate. Actually, what I can do is I'm going to put the variance to selected year on the rows as well. Okay, so now I have them above and below each other. So let's see what that looks like in the dashboard. And then I'll put this maybe next to it. Oh, that's pretty terrible. Let me just shrink the height up a bit. So now I can click on something and it'll update to that particular year. I don't like it. I don't know if anybody else does. Okay, so I think I'm going to just keep this simple. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to go to my dashboard, and I mean, I could even leave it side by side like that. I think that's probably okay. Let's put a title in here and see. Now, why didn't it keep my font? You see that? Why is it not keeping my fonts? I changed my workbook font. It set it back. How stupid is that? Oh, maybe I formatted the wrong thing. Sorry, format workbook. Oh, my fault. Sorry, Tableau. That was my mistake. So Montserrat. There we go. All right, that's better. So let's say, what could we call this? Say 1994 to 2022. Okay. And then this one, I could say something like click a year to filter. Let's maybe make this like 10 point. Let's just call it chair value. Okay, and there we go. So if I click off, okay, so I need to make it a bit wider so that so the problem now is my numbers are rotated. So I'm going to switch this to continuous and see how that looks. Okay, so that doesn't look very good. Okay, there we go. So that works. I'm going to edit my axis and get rid of the year. Okay, and then I would probably go ahead and stick a text box at the bottom. And I'm going to say, this is where I'd like to go to data.world and just copy what this says. So I'll make sure I give credit to whoever this was. right. Okay, so data source is that, and then data collected from. Okay, there we go. I just want to make sure I give them credit. I'm not using containers here, which kind of breaks my heart a bit, but and actually I'm going to left align this one. Okay, and I'm going to put another text box next to this one and right align this one. Okay. Go. That. And this container, maybe what I'll do is I want a bit more space between these. So I'm going to, let's say if I make this 10, 10, and then this container. Okay, so let's make this. Okay. Right. I'm trying to get this to line up. I'm trying to get this text here to line up with this text here. Maybe it's not worth doing, but makes me feel better. Okay, now the problem here is this font's a bit, I can't like read the whole thing. Maybe I'll just leave it and not worry about it. Okay, and let's format this view and get rid of the grid lines. Let's get rid of the 0 line. And what else should we do here? Let's make this one 10 as well. Format workbook. Can I change my workbook font color? Oh, I can. So what color was this again? So I'm going to set this to be my default color as well. So paste. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then what happened here? Okay, there we go. So if I click on a different year, I'll see the different values. So 2022, we get something like that. Okay, value of shares. So I'm going to edit this axis, get rid of the title. And that's pretty cleaned up. I think that doesn't look too bad. Click a year to filter. Maybe I'll make this a bit smaller. There we go. I don't know if I can filter this the other direction. So let me just try using this as a filter. And if I do that, yeah, then we see Bank of America. Oh, yeah, that doesn't work because there's only 1 year here because I've already filtered the year. Let me get rid of the filter. Okay, good enough. What about a heat map? Or are there too many holdings? So I don't think a heat map would work very well because there's only like a date dimension. If we had like date and like year and month or something like that, maybe that would work. But I don't see how a date would work in this case. Sorry, I don't see how a heat map would work in this case. So I'm going to get rid of my axis rulers as well. Okay, so that's nice and neat. And then let's get rid of my 0 line as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave this axis over here on the left-hand side. So I'm okay with this one. If I had to stop, I'd be fine with that. But let's see, I've got 12 minutes. Let's see if we can do the radial, the starburst chart. Let's see what happens here. So I better say this first. Let's see. Let's call it that. Makeover Monday, 2022. Okay, week 37. I'm just doing that in the fear that it's going to explode on me. Okay, so let's connect to the data source again. And okay, let's look at the data. And hang on 1 second, my son is home. Give me just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's see, let's look at my tutorial. So we want to union the data to itself, okay? So I'm going to drag it again and create a union. All right, so that gives us that. And then I'm going to go ahead and pivot the data. I don't think I need to pivot that. So let's just pivot. And let's call this, this is what? This is the company, share value. So table name, sheet name, we probably, I think one of these is probably, let's see, so let's edit the aliases. Okay, so once that was just called data, so we can hide that. And then this one, aliases. So we've got data and data one. Okay, so that's the two sheets. That's fine. Okay, so let me go to a new sheet now. Hopefully we can do this in the next 10 minutes. Can you show how to calculate the change from the date acquired? Earliest year. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, let me go to Jen's question and then I'll come back to the radial chart. So can you show how to calculate the change from the date acquired to the date sold? Okay, so let's look at that. So we've got the company, and we could first look at the min year per company. And we want to look at fixed on company min year, min year. Okay, so it's going to give us the first year for each company. And we get that. All right, so that's our min year. And then let's create another one. Actually, I can just duplicate this one and make it the max year. Okay, and okay, so that's okay. So there'll probably be no change. If it's the same year, there'll be no change. And I'm going to put year in here just so we can see what happens. So we can see the early min year is 1994. Value of shares is, I guess American Express is an easy one to look at here. So we want to return 18 million and we want to return 21 million. Okay, so value at start. Okay, so I'm going to say if year is equal to min year per company, then value of shares and then I want to fix that on each company, and then I'm going to do sum of that. Okay, so this is going to give me for each company the actually I don't think I need to make this a level of detail. So let's try this. Value at start. Okay, so 8. Okay, so that's good. Let's duplicate value at end. And then this will be if year equals max year per company. Value at end. And we see we now get that. Okay, that's good. Let's get rid of the year field. Let's get rid of value of shares. Okay, so now we've got the start and the end. And then we could just calculate the difference. So change value. So let's call this change since first purchase. So we want to do the value at the end minus the value at the start. And let's maybe make that a percentage, because I think that's, I think that gives us a bit better context. Divided by the value at the start. default properties, number format, percentage, let's say 0 decimals. And what do we get here? So this one's 0%, which makes sense because it was the min and the max year are the same. So American Express, it's gone up 224,000%. Holy crap. Apple went up 1,600%. Are there any other like gigantic ones? 200%. Wells Fargo has gone up 17, almost 1,800%. Wow. So we can now get rid of those. Get rid of the value at this. Let's see, how can we do this? So let's put the change here. And then we could move these to, let's see, if we move those to detail, get rid of measure names, there we go. So let me sort. Now we see American Express is the one that grew the most. I don't know if that helps, Jen. Is that what you're looking for? If I put these in the view as well, let's put those on. Henry?
Bye.
You leaving?
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Wait.
Love you too. Okay, so this now gives me the min and max per year and the change. I think that's what you, no, this shouldn't be. So value at start. Yes, we want to get rid of those. Okay, something like that. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the radial chart. Thanks, that was a good question, Jen, thank you. And how many, it's interesting, I wonder how many they actually lost money on. Very few, only 5. So only 6 holdings in the last, what, 30, 40 years, whatever it is. How many years is it? 29 years did they lose money. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's all right, here's another one, 7. So 7 out of that. I think they're pretty good at investing, I would say. Although this one's others, but anyway. Okay, so we're gonna look at the radial chart. So let's go to this data source. We're almost out of time, but maybe I'll go in a couple extra minutes. So we have the radial field. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, okay, I'm going to actually just copy all of these calculations. Paste them all in here, and I'll show you why. I'm going to just, so, oops. Oh, crap. Okay, so the first one, the value I'm going to look at here is, so that's my temperature change. So I just want to look at share value. And then adjuster, integer parameter, default to 10. Okay, we'll fix that one next. Let's create a parameter. Oh, what happened there? Okay, let's create a parameter. I hope that doesn't make that go away. All right, so we're going to call this parameter adjuster. 2.adjuster. It's going to be an integer parameter with the default to 10. Okay, but need to adjust according, okay, that's fine. It's okay. So we can now get rid of those 2. And we can save this one. Okay, so so this isn't going to be path. This is going to be table name. That's equal to, oh gosh, what was it called? Data 1. And this one should be radial outer minus radial inner. Radial out, oh, okay. I just want to drag both of these over here. Undo. Where's my, oh, I missed some things here. Okay, let me just copy all this. Radial angle, okay. Okay, there we go. So we're going to create another calculated field. Oops. So So we've got 3 done, we've got 4 done, we've got 5 done. That's fine. Okay, so if table equals table 1. Okay, so let's get number 6. And then once we have number 6, 7 should be okay. Share that carpet. What does that mean? Jesus, what does that mean? Share that carpet. I don't get it. 8. Okay, 9. 10. So basically, I just kind of save all of these and then hope for the best. So let's close that. Okay. So let's look back now. So I've got all of those fields. Okay, now I want to do my layout. Of course, I've got something called, oh, we don't need to worry about trellis. Okay, so year and decade, we don't need to worry about that. So radial X, radial Y. Why would I have it that way? Doesn't X go? X goes on the rows, Y goes on the columns. Might need to switch that around. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we have on the, okay, so we want to have the value on color, and we want to have the year field. On detail. So that's that. And then maybe this a line, and then table name on path. Okay. Oh, we got something. We have a line, so that's good. Okay. So then table calc configuration. So radial X. Okay. So radial angle is going to compute using year. Okay. So radial angle, compute using year. And then radial length is by year as well. Radial length is by year. Is that right? Year. Yep. Okay, and then let's see. We then have, is that it? So radial X, I guess radial Y must be computed the same way. Oh, look at that. So 2000, 2006, 12. Okay, well, things aren't ordered particularly well. So maybe if we sort. Okay. Well, my years are all out of whack. Okay, so let's look back here at the configuration. So how do I want to sort? So the sorting is wrong. That's the problem. So 2022. Maybe if I put that below. No. Sort by custom year. Min, it doesn't really matter. Ascending. I don't think this is going to do anything. I'm just trying. Okay, I don't think that did anything. Well, that is annoying. So it looks pretty, but it's not, didn't work out, did it? Okay, so let me show this parameter. All that does is rotate it. So we want to have, what was the first year? 697. What the hell? Why won't the years sort? Is it because of the parameter value? I don't think so. That just rotates the view. So if you see, it's just rotating the clock. That's just so we can make sure that we get the smallest year at the beginning. Okay, but what's our first year? Our first year is 1990. No, our first year is, what's our first year? 1994. Okay, so let me just see if I can get 1994 at the top. Well, that's not going to matter. So why the hell will this not sort properly? Maybe, let's see. This shouldn't matter. Yeah, that's not matter because they're all positive values anyway. Rows, column. Okay, so these are just if I want to make it a trellis, so I don't need those two. Let's see. So 2 is my adjuster. The angle, 1 minus the adjuster, that's fine. Radial inner is 2. Okay, maybe I'll try playing around with these. Oh, crap. Pull this one inner. I think the inner and the outer just help you determine how spread out it should be. So, for example, if I change this to be my parameter and alter is my parameter, all this is going to do is make it shrink. So if I make this like 4, 3, we're just changing the shrinkiness of it. So at like 10, something like that. So Rav, it is a sunburst chart actually. Okay, so now this is perfect until I can get the stupid. So the length. So this is correct. Maybe I'll try this just as data. Let me try that. It really shouldn't matter. That's not going to change the order of the years. Radial X. Okay, let me swap this around. Okay, that didn't do anything. I wonder if I can sort this by year. Field year. That's not going to change anything. Okay, yeah, that didn't change anything either. Radial Y. So that's the same. So that's okay. So it's drawing the right picture. I just can't get the stupid thing to sort. Huh. Isn't this annoying? Real angle. Custom sort by year. Yeah, so let me just put year on the view and then radial X. Okay, let's see. Got me stumped now, and I want to figure this out. Where do we get the tutorial note? Bob, what do you mean by the tutorial note? You mean the notes that I have in my notepad? I think that's what you mean. It looks like maybe it's putting too much space between the years and then wrapping around the circle. Could be. Let's see. So that's fine. So that's right. So the angle index minus that. Okay, so that's just counting. This is just the parameter. So these two just do the in and the out. Okay, so maybe it's something in here. Max times. So Bob, there's a I believe there's a post that I refer to. Anyway, I think I have a tutorial somewhere for this, Bob. I'll look. I haven't ever recorded one though, I don't think, but I can. Okay, so radial field, radial outer minus radial inner. So this, okay, so this is radial field. Maybe this should be, let's make this the sum. Did that do anything? No. Well, I don't know what the hell to do. I'm not quite sure why that's not working. So that's doing radial angle. So yeah, whether I do sum or average here, it doesn't matter because the radial, that's just going to have one value anyway. Yes, that's sum. Actually, sum is more correct there. So let's just make sure. Maybe I have something else messed up somewhere. Let me go back through this again. And these are just my two parameters. Okay, length. That's the window max. Yes, that's just taking them. This is just getting the maximum value of my of all of the years. Okay, so that's fine. Cosine radian angle. Okay. I don't know why this isn't sorting right, but it's quite annoying. Yeah. Well, hopefully I figure it out, but you get the idea. Okay. I think that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to just go with this simple dashboard. Yeah, nothing particularly complicated. I might clean it up a bit more. Maybe I'll get rid of some of the top and bottom. Sorry, maybe get rid of the bottom amount so it gets a bit closer, something like that. But I think that's good enough. Thank you for joining. Again, I'll have a tip out this week about using or comparing table calcs and LODs using a percent of total. That should be coming out, Wednesday or maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, one of those. Wednesday, I will be releasing a new episode of my podcast. I'm going to be interviewing Ruth, who is a coach Ruth Amartefio. She is a coach at the data school, and we're going to be talking about how to interview for a data analyst job or a consulting job. Sorry, how to interview for a consulting job and the mistakes people make. Eva will be around for Viz Review on Wednesday, and who knows, maybe something else will come up as well. And thank you very much. All right, everybody, have a good day.
you.